An earnings alert for all you NIO fans out there and traders interested in the EV auto stock from China. They've been struggling for a while now, but they're trying to emulate Tesla in China and become the Chinese Tesla. Got a great range of products. The market is warming up to them, especially in China. They've expanded into Europe, Germany, those sort of places as they look to expand. So earnings out Wednesday after the bell. Could this be a turning point for the stock, or is there more pain to come? Well, I'm going to have a look at the data, dig into what happens normally around earnings time, and then going to have a look at the charts and see where the price of the stock may be heading next, and throw in a few trade ideas for you as well. So with that, let's take a look at that analysis. So into wallstreetodds.com to kick things off, and you can see in front of you the NIO database, and interesting bit of chart here. 14 analyst ratings, most of it as a buy. But what I like is this chart, and you can see the actual price to what the analysts predict, and at the moment we're around $17-18. Upsides there almost double if the analysts have it right, as it says there, 121% price target upside. So that all looks very positive. Sentiment mixed, no upgrades at the moment, mostly maintaining that buy position. So all very interesting there. Now, as I mentioned, earnings Wednesday after the close. We hit that earnings button up there as well, see what's been going on in the past, and we've got this post earnings 1 day performance, what goes on, and it's been a massive range, actually minus 20% to plus 50%, only the one time doing that, but normally you can see the upsides mostly around that 2 to 5% and the downsides 2 to minus 5%, but it can get to the extremes. And then under that 1 week performance, a range between minus 40 and plus 50%, so it's quite extreme. And what's happened more recently, well, you can see better than expected, and that's had a negative impact on the price. Mixed forward periods before and after that as well. So interesting sort of takeaways there we can use. Plenty of upside if we can use that analyst data as a guide, and expecting on Wednesday probably a volatile earnings news event after the bell. So one to certainly have your risk management in place when you're trading it. So let's dig in now to the charts. So in terms of longer term price action, we head into the weekly line chart, and first takeaway, see that huge run up in price, over 4,000% over the year, and then that big give back, as you can see, nearly 80% down to those lows there, and actually heading now back down to this yellow shaded area of what I think is going to be a key support zone. You can see action over here, action here, and it's got to hold there or it's in trouble down into this zone, but it could provide a nice key bounce zone. But notice the two purple trend lines, it's going to be up to here, it's got to break through that, and then that key 38.2% Fibonacci line around $25 before it can start thinking about going up further. So not a really positive looking longer term chart there at the moment. And if we head into the 4-line break chart, we've got a bullish play set up at the moment, and you can see two numbers, $20.25 to get back in to the upside if you are thinking bullish. And our daily Heikin-Ashi chart, similar picture to the weekly chart. We've got this nice downtrend in play, but we could call this sort of a consolidation zone from sort of February time, in between this sort of $12 to $25. So what are the signals giving us below? Well, we've got bearish for our two DMIs, which isn't promising. Volatility starting to pick up. Mid to early 60%. Volume has been trading down, but as you can see, that little purple box there, that's earnings coming up Wednesday, and we should expect a spike in that volatility up around that event. And where that sends it, well, we know that it can send it a very long way in either direction, so definitely one to watch out. And at the moment we've got a sell signal around the 2-line pink box breakout setup, so at the moment you would probably call it weak bearish overall. And heading into the real short-term action on the Renko chart, used a 40 cents block size, and our signals, well, it's the same story, all pretty bearish at the moment. And we've got the trend coming down in the much shorter term, and we've got this more compact consolidation zone as we head into earnings. And if we can get some upside action, where could we be seeing the price going? Well, we've got these 3 green bubbles here that could be of interest, around $29, $38, and then up into the early 50s. Failure from here, continuing that downtrend, you know, earnings disappoint, 13 down to almost nothing really. If it breaks on under that sort of key support zone around that sort of, like I say, 13, 12 sort of dollar area. So a moment again, a weak bearish outlook for NIO. So now let's have a look at a few trade ideas for you. I'm sticking with a bearish volatile theme here for my options trade ideas. Now first up we have the straddle. With all that volatility expected, especially around earnings, it could ping quite rapidly in either direction. So although it is a bit, you know, late-ish for the, you know, the straddle play around earnings, actually, you know, with the, you know, possibility of a big move in either direction afterwards, then it might be worth a consideration. It's an expensive strategy. I say it's about $542 there for one of each, of, you know, to create that straddle position. And you know, if we play around with the simulator, what can we expect? Well, you know, there's a decent returnish to be had in there. Price gets up to $30, it's about 100% return. If it falls down to $10, about 74% return. And then second up we've got just a straight outright put, really longer term to keep the costs down, going to cost you $380, and like I said, it's 150% return if it gets down to that $10 area. And finally, something if you're a bit more weak bearish, put together a cool spread here, income trade on the 21-26 strikes. And we can see there, if we click on the simulator again, we need that price, well, we click on here and break even around 21 and a third dollars. And again, risk capped, reward capped, up to you, $40. Not a massive income trade there, but something to think about if you're more weak bearish. But I think quite fancy that looking straddle at the moment, and take the parts off as, you know, the direction becomes more obvious. So what if we were spread betting? What would we be looking at? So into my Trade Nation CFD spread betting account, typed in NIO in the top left there in the Market Explorer, came back with the standard rolling contract, reasonable spread, only 7 points there in terms of information, 10p minimum trade size, and 5-to-1 leverage, so not too bad, and gives you access to either going long or maybe more importantly the short side, which is often hard to get involved with if you want to get into traditional stocks or can't access options. So we've got some ideas there on the options and CFD spread bet side. Now let's give NIO a score. So score based off the technicals then, weak bearish. You can see both Heikin Ashi, Renko looking pretty poor. If you are bullish though, up in the top right 4-line break chart, some entries in for you there. In terms of targets, upsides looking better than downsides, obviously. 4.5 and 8.25 to 1, and 1.2 and 2.2 to 1 to the downside. But overall, I'm going weak bearish based on those technicals at the moment. NIO is a funny one. It's got great fundamental potential, and theoretically it could be a big car player around the world, certainly cementing itself in China very nicely, but got a lot of competition from people like Xpeng and Bide, and a few others there as well, and Tesla from outside of China, finding it harder to establish globally, but it's got its footprint in Europe now, in Germany, so a lot of positives there, but the stock price not reflecting it at the moment, and expecting a volatile earnings on Wednesday after the close. So it's going to paint a picture, I think, of the future direction of what investors think of the stock. Let me know what you think in those comments below, where you think it's heading next, the reasons for its downturn over the last year after meteoric rise. It's a very popular social trading stock, this one, so it can turn on a 9p very quickly if it comes to that. So one definitely to watch out. Talked about straddle trade using options as well, so it might be something to consider. But like I say, an interesting stock at the moment. On the technicals, weak bearish, but fundamentally it could turn around and offer some good value in the longer term. So if you've liked today's video, please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell buttons, and all that's left for me to say is thanks for watching, good luck with the trading, and I'll see you in the next video.